I drove to the apartment building. I got the newspapers like I always did, put it on the loading dock. And then I hear some people screaming in the background, put the stuff down, put the stuff down. And I'm like, if you want it was the Brantford Expositor. I don't know if you know where Brantford is, like an hour west of here, like towards Hamilton. And I'm like, if you want the Brantford Expositor, you take the Brantford Expositor. Like, I don't want no. I'm going home. Right? But I turn around and there's two guys, full ski masks. They have guns and they run up. And so then I just kind of like hands up, like, whoa, like what's going on? Like, I'm not ready for a fight. And they put the gun directly beside my head. Like, it's like I can feel it when I talk about it.
Welcome back to The Juxtaposition. I'm your host, Nana, alongside my two lovely co-hosts,
Janet and Bernice.
And today, we got a great guy. Very special. Anointed
People-centered,
guy.
yes.
Definitely people-centered.
Lover of Jesus.
Yes.
Definitely true.
Extreme extrovert.
Yes.
Hard after the people of God.
Yes. Loves people. Today we got Pastor Rick in the building. Pastor Ricky.
Fireworks.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. I've got a new phone on Google. There's audio emojis. I've never had a Google phone before.
Emojis?
I flipped over to Google just to try something out.
Yeah, I was kind of sad when he told me he flipped to
you
Google.
went from iPhone to
Google. I got a Google Pixel that folds out. I got a Google Watch, a Google phone, and there's audio emojis. So I can do fireworks. I can do fireworks in a conversation when I'm talking to somebody.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Horns. That's
pretty cool. Why did you transition from iPhone to
Google?
Yeah.
Well, I wanted the fold because it's easier to watch when you get the fold. And it's like when you're traveling, sometimes like our part of the world is super iPhone based, like 80-90%, right? But the rest of the world isn't. The rest of the world's like 80-90%.
like Android?
Yeah, Android. Yeah. So enough times I traveled and I got so frustrated with how Apple is like super, like it locks you out of everything else. If it's not Apple, it's super difficult.
Yeah.
And I saw like the Google with the fold. I'm like, I'm just going to try it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll go back in a couple of years.
Are you liking it so far?
Well, I like that I could do the horns. And I like when I'm watching stuff. So yeah.
It looks like a whole iPad.
It
Yeah,
is.
because it folds
Yeah,
up, right?
So like you're like whatever you're watching on the front, you just fold it out and then it's double. So yeah. It's like I'm an iPad kid. I got my iPad time now.
Oh my God!
See, my pride won't let me leave iPhone. Which is
I know
very
it's
sad.
right. You gotta think different.
Sad.
You gotta think differently sometimes.
No, you do.
know,
Yeah,
you're right.
I'm surprised
Try different.
that Apple hasn't come up with something along the lines.
Well, they're starting. They're jealous now.
You
so
see,
they're
I'm telling you. That's what I said. They always do
point.
something.
That's a good
copying
point.
people or whatever it is. So
Rabbit trail, audio emoji.
Facts. So Pastor Rick is the lead pastor of Portico Community Church, which is a great church because I work here.
Because you work here.
He's the guy that stole me from Christian Center
took
Church.
him away.
And I apologize.
He has apologized several times.
But like just my interactions with Pastor Rick. My first interaction with Pastor Rick, I'm like, wow, he has a lot of energy. Like this is really like he's really like, and also I didn't feel the kind of like the tension of like this is a pastor, so I need to like kind of tense up and be like this like perfect guy and like no, like he's a cool guy. So
We're
that's
just
one
people
thing.
too. We're just
Exactly.
Well, I know we talked a little bit about this a couple weeks ago, but it's like when you lead with humility, it's so much more invitational for people. Like I get why in some places and in some times you want like the pastor like set on a different space because you're like, no, that's somebody I want to listen to. I want to respect. I want to model my life after. But I've taken the model for sure just to go lead with humility, be humble first. I mean, I can spiritualize and go like, you want to be the greatest. You want to be the servant of all. And I think that's how Jesus projected himself to the world.
Facts.
But for me, that is something I take. I thank you for that, and I take that as a high compliment. That I want to make sure that people go. They see a humble person first. That is just a person, as opposed to any kind of position.
That's so true. So can you talk about like how long you've been here, your journey a little bit?
Sure. I've been at Portico for 20 years.
Wow.
I moved here when I was 24 5 years old. So I had graduated Bible college, done a couple of years in youth pastoring, and I came here. I was the junior high pastor. So that's like the bottom job in any church, right? Like we've all done junior high ministry. It's like you do the middle schooler thing, like whatever. So that's what I did. And so I was the junior high youth pastor, and then I was we kind of had a couple of youth pastors on staff. So I was the teaching and the pastor, and there was like a director. So I did that for a while. Then I done that for about 7 years, and I really felt like I love serving people, but there was always something that I felt like as a pastor I could support people in their spiritual growth and journey. But like we're so much more than just like who we are in our Bible knowledge and our spiritual life. Like there's so many dimensions to our life: body, soul, mind, or body, soul, spirit. So I went back to school and I studied psychology. I got my master's in psych. And then I resigned from my pastoral position here, but still attended the church and was volunteering in youth and in kids. And we had just started a second campus out in Milton. So I was out there doing setup, and once a month I would preach there just to give the pastor who was starting it a Sunday off, or he'd be back here in Mississauga. And then our senior pastor at the time said, "Would you consider coming back on staff and using all that you've learned in your counseling field to maybe support and lead the church?" And so we prayed about it and we thought about it, and we said, okay, as long as that is a critical part of who we are, then we're in. So I led our Milton campus just in its first year getting started, and I led there for 5 years. And then when we were getting ready to start our Brampton location, that was a unique space because we wanted to plant a campus in Brampton. We have a lot of people that lived in Brampton, and we're driving down to Mississauga. But there was another church that was going through a really hard time. Their pastor had to leave because of some moral stuff. And the church was really hurting, and they wanted somebody to work with them. So our senior pastor at the time said, "Do you love what you're doing in Milton?" I go, "Yeah, I really do." He's like, "Would you take on a new challenge?" I'm like, "Okay." Oh. But again, it's my heart for people, right? So you go, "Okay, yeah, we'll do this." So then I launched our Brampton site, and that was 2018. And then led there for a couple of years, and then in January 2020, we did a switch, and our senior pastor stayed on as in a teaching role and a mentoring role, and I became the lead. And so I had a great 6 weeks of leading the church before COVID hit.
Locked it down.
And that was a whirlwind. But then I've been leading for I guess 5.5 years in the lead role, and we've kind of made some shifts and adjustments, but we're caring for people in a brand new world. Like, hey, we all had to figure out life after COVID, right? So the church has just kind of figured it out too. And once Nana came on in September, like the whole thing just took off. It just took.
I wish. It's all because of Christian Center.
That's it.
We prepared him for you.
That's right.
Yes, we put him out for you.
It's like some water, some plant, some harvest.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's in the harvest.
That's amazing. Listen, I'm trying to learn how to take compliments.
Thank you with humility,
which is amazing. But so the time that I came to them and I'm like, we should have Pastor Rick on this podcast, is because I don't think you remember this, but we were packing something in the gym. We were doing something in the gym, and I guess we're just talking, like having a conversation. And then you started talking, and then you started sharing your life story, and I'm like, what? Are you like trolling me right now? Because one thing about Portico, I feel like when I first came, they like played not pranks on me, but Pastor Dwayne, Pastor Dwayne to be exact.
For sure,
well, I'll never forget this. We're in the gym, and then he says like, so I'm like, so this is where you guys like play basketball? Like, do you guys like do other stuff in here? He said, yeah. Like we bring the goat in here too, and we sacrifice the goat, and like we go about our day. And he said it in such a serious
so you actually
voice. So I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking?
Well, you have to sacrifice a goat before.
Like,
there's the sins of the people have to be reconciled.
So I'm like, so when I was talking to him, he mentions about his story and how you experienced a crazy scene of events when you're younger.
Yeah.
So I wanted for you to share to our audience, and your audience probably heard the story, but our audience didn't.
Yeah, for sure.
But can you please share that part of your story?
For sure. Yeah. No, so it was when I was, and this really is how I figured out, this is really how I figured out my faith and called the ministry and everything like that, right? Like I was in grade 12 and I'll date myself. Back in the day, there was 5 years of high school. So like,
damn.
So it's called OAC, Ontario Academic Credit. If you want to go to university, you needed 6 of those. So that was like the 5th year. So if you were going like to apprenticeship or college or work, like you could graduate at grade 12, but you could do a 5th year, which I know like lots of people do 5th year now anyway, right? But you do the 5th year and they were just university credits. So I was in grade 12 and I was thinking I was going to do marketing. So I was looking at colleges and universities, but I'm like, nah, I'll kind of stick around for the 5th year because most of my friends were anyway. And I had always done a early morning newspaper delivery route. That was like how I made money.
That was your first job?
Yeah. I got when I was like grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11. So like, and it was crazy because it was at a senior's apartment building and my mom would drive me. So it was like early morning. We'd get up at 6. We'd drive there. I'd deliver the newspapers. Like you just walk the floors of the apartment building. And I got back home at like 6:30. Went back to bed because school didn't start till 9. So I had like 2 hours of sleep. So I'd make a couple $100 a week, and this was easy. And this is easy money for like a high school kid, right? So grade 12, I got my driver's license, and then my mom was finally like, "Praise the Lord! I don't have to wake up with this kid at 6 in the morning to deliver." So day 1, she got up with me and she said, "You're gonna be okay." Like, yeah, we're good. So day 2, she's like, "I think I'm gonna sleep in if that's all right." So this is crazy. It was day 2. Wow. I drove to the apartment building. I got the newspapers like I always did, put it on the loading dock. And then I hear some people screaming in the background, "Put the stuff down, put the stuff down." And I'm like, if you want it was the Brantford Expositor. I don't know if you know where Brantford is, like an hour west of here, like towards Hamilton. And I'm like, if you want the Brantford Expositor, you take the Brantford Expositor. Like, I'm going home. Right? But I turn around and there's 2 guys, full ski masks. They have guns and they run up. And so then I just kind of like hands up, like, whoa, like what's going on? Like, I'm not ready for a fight. And they put the gun directly beside my head. Like, it's like I can feel it when I talk about it. And they grab they handcuff me and they walked me back to my van. And they made me lie down in the back seat of the van and they put a blanket over me and then they go speeding away. And I'm
while you're in the van,
I have no idea.
In broad daylight.
Well, it's 6 a.m, so it's like
dark.
We're just kind of And so what we would learn later when the detectives were kind of doing their work is they figured that these guys, they were looking to rob a convenience store warehouse. Because if you go into like where all the convenience stores get like their lottery tickets, there's cigarettes, there's like cash in the safe and all that. So they could get away with a significant haul. They wanted a vehicle that would not be identified at the scene that was theirs. So whether they were trying to steal a vehicle in the garage or whether like they knew that I was coming every morning, like they were never caught. So nobody knows what was in their head. But they were looking for a vehicle. So anyway, we go speeding away for like an hour. And like, I have no idea what's happening. I thought, because we were driving around so fast, it felt like we left the city. Like, where are we going? I go, when people get kidnapped in a movie, you're crossing the border, like ransom. So I don't know what's up. Like, I thought, maybe I thought we were driving towards like Buffalo or something. Like, but I'm lying there. And I'm a newer Christian, so I had been going to the church. I started going to a church because it was a youth group and they had girls in sports, and I was like, that I'm in for. But but like I was one of those kids, so like you go to youth group for a while and you start to like you hear it over and over, and you consider it, and then you're in like the discussions or whatever. So it was taking root in my life. But I was not like a forever Christian kind of thing. So I started praying, like, God, if you can get me out of this, like, I'll do whatever for you. Like, and it was one of those classic prayers, like, Lord, save my life, and I'm going to marketing, but I'll do what you want me to do. And anyway, they robbed the warehouse. Then they came back into the van, and they had barely said much to me at all. They were speaking in Spanish, and I didn't understand anything, right? So they had said a couple of things to me, but then after they had sped away, they came to a quick halt, and I heard all the doors open and everybody get out except for one person. It's like I could feel them get into the back seat. And it was at that moment that I thought, well, this is like, they don't need me anymore, so they're gonna knock me out. So I turned my back and got ready for them to shoot, because I figured like this was my the extent of my biological knowledge is like the more important stuff is in the front. So at least if I get hit,
I could probably make it.
It's like it's a shoulder blade back
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I don't know. What am I thinking, right? So I turned around ready to die, and just like hey, Jesus, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you got to get me out of this. And he unclipped my handcuffs, and he said, "You can count to 100, and then you can drive home." And
Drive home.
yeah, right, yeah, like
Not even walk didn't they or like run?
no. So they wanted to leave the van, like because they had a getaway car there.
Okay.
So they wanted to have whatever car was at the crime scene does not want to be the car that they're
Crazy,
in
yeah.
driving
Got
away,
you.
right? And they got masks and gloves, and
Wow.
I can't identify their face, their voice. There's no fingerprints, so there's not even in a vehicle that anyone can identify. So they get away with it, right?
Wow.
So I'm lying there in the back seat, and I'm counting to 100, and I'm visualizing that this guy is just standing over me with the gun, ready to end it. Like, and that's kind of the nightmare that would stay with me for the next number of months. Wow. But I counted to 100 5 times. Like
You said just be like, instead of shoot now.
yeah, exactly.
Now.
It was ridiculous, but like your mind goes to some really dark places when you're in stuff like that, right?
For sure.
And then I drove home. I finally got the courage to take my mask off, and yeah, they were gone. The keys were on the dash, and so I got into the front seat and I drove home. And I got home, and my parents, like when I pulled into the driveway, they came running out because this has been like 2-3 hours now, and it's supposed to be half an hour, and I can't say a word to them. I show them the mask and the handcuffs, and that's all. And so we just kind of like, what are we going to do? What's crazy is within 5 to 10 minutes, police show up, but it's because the van that had been identified at the crime scene was my van, and they saw it driving. So they showed up going like, this is, did you rob this place, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I spent the morning with the detectives, and yeah, they kind of, they asked lots of questions, and they finally determined that, this kid is terrified, has no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
And so they cleared me, and then I was just kind of left to live my life with this horrible, traumatic experience. And
Wow.
So you talked about how you counted to 5, like you counted 105 times, and like 5 is the number of grace. And so how did that teach you about the grace of God in that moment after you got through all that you've gone through?
So I've never considered 5 being the number of grace. So thank you for that. That's really cool perspective on the testimony. What it taught me was it didn't happen right away. But for the next number of months, I was terrified. Like when the phone would ring, I would be like, I couldn't drive that van. I didn't do the paper route for like a week, and I got the courage to do it like a week later. So I was driving there, and I just had the radio on, and the same song that was playing on the radio the morning I got kidnapped was playing on that morning. And I was like, nope, I just kept driving and quit that thing. I was never doing that.
What song
again.
is it? Do you know?
Okay, so this is great. It's, I don't know, you probably don't know. It's called Love Fool by the Cardigans. I don't know if you've ever, look it up. It's a terrible song.
Don't listen to it.
But it's Love Fool by the Cardigans. And but when that song comes on, like, memories flash back. Like, so I had all these traumatic things going on, and I got to some really dark places where I had a lot of suicidal thoughts going on, to the point that I was driving home from my girlfriend's house one night, and I brought my car over the line and was heading right into traffic. And then the other car coming, like hammering the horn. But so I pulled back, and I started like being a counselor now. Suicidal ideation is really normal in a lot of young people's lives. But when you start making plans, and when you start doing some this is when we get a little more concerned, especially attempts that could be actually carried out and would actually be deathly. Then that's where we get nervous. So I had progressed through a couple stages. But thankfully, I had a youth pastor that cared deeply about me. I had a school that offered support. I had parents that were supportive. I had family, my girlfriend's family around me that were supportive. And you asked the question, so how did I learn God's grace? It was in the eventual resolution of it all, which was not for another 5 months, where God showed me, number one, I can bring you to hard places and protect you. And number two, the thing that you feel could be, or not even that you feel, that actually was a big limiter, that could be a limiter, is the place where I'm going to use you to be able to share your testimony. I'm going to teach you that you don't have to be afraid of anyone in this world. Like if I want your life to keep going, I will keep your life going, right? And so what I learned about God's grace is that what we would think about it is that we would go like, just protect me from anything difficult. But that's what I actually discovered. It's like, no, it's God's grace is the thing that sustains us through the difficult times and forms something beautiful in us. And without it, without this experience, I would not be here. I would not be doing any of the ministry that I would be doing. Yeah. I would be in marketing, which I would have loved, right? I would have been writing jingles for Pop-Tarts, right? Like, which would have been a really fun life, but I would not be here.
Yeah.
So when did that perspective kick in? And because it could have easily turned into a situation where it's like, yeah, thank you God for getting me out of this situation, but also, why would you do this to me? Like, why would you make this like my story? So did it kick in like a year later, or like because you were gonna do marketing? So when was the shift in mindset where it's like, no, I'm gonna like actually dedicate my life to you?
Sure. Well, I had prayed that prayer, and I'd never forget it. Like, God, if you get me out of this, I'll do whatever, right? Yeah. So some family friends. This was in August. So it happened in May, I think. My mom knows when. Maybe it was April. Yeah. So May, June, July, August. So 4 months later, I guess. My family friends, they brought me to the airport, to this youth service at the airport church. You know, like the airport church that had like some of the revival stuff going on back in the day. And lots of people had different opinions on it, but whatever. I had a good experience there. So it was their summer youth conference. And I always find it very important that I share that I don't expect that this will be everyone's experience. And this was preceded by 4 months of, I got counseling from pastors, school counselors, family. So this is not like you just pray and it goes away. Yeah. But it was at that youth service that night that first I heard the Lord say, Rick, I need you to, with your life, share with everybody that I love them. That's it. That was my call to ministry. Like, share with people that I love them. And he took away the depressive thoughts, the suicidal ideation instantly. Wow. And I dealt with it multiple times a day up until that day for 4 months. And from that day on, it's gone. And I that's why I find it really important that I go, this is not going to be everyone's experience. And it was a number of months of work. And it set me on a journey that has made me extremely reflective, over-reflective in my life. In fact, I was reflecting on this with my wife the other day. In the spiritual world, we're going to call it like discernment. in a counseling world, we're gonna call it emotional intelligence or self-reflection. In other spaces, like they'll call it energy, like just someone's energy or whatever. But it's something that God gave us, that we can pick up on the spirit of ourselves and others if we take time to listen to how God may be leading us and what he's doing. So what I believe he did in that day is he gave me the ability to pay attention to my spirit and the spirits of other people. And in that, recognize really quickly when I'm going into a downward spiral in my thinking or in my feelings, just to go, Lord, what are you saying to me in this? And change that perspective to go, no, this isn't necessarily a terrible thing. This is, Lord, you're forming something new in me. You're preparing me for something, which is so consistent all through scripture, that whenever God wants to use you for something, he has to form something in you. Even Jesus, before he went to do ministry, he spends 40 days in the worst days of his life on earth. I'm sure he's not eating, he's being tempted. But it's formation, right? So I walked out of that day and I knew that I was not going to marketing. I was going to go to Bible college. So I didn't have to take my fifth year very seriously after that.
I don't really need it.
I don't need these university kind of things. So, no, but I mean, you needed to pass them, but you didn't need like high marks for Bible college. So I took 2 Englishes, 2 Frenches, and 2 histories. I love language. I love like speaking and studying and writing. Like that's like math and science. Over here.
We'll put you to the side.
I'll do the languages and the history and all that. But so I did that, and I went to Bible college, and in that break, like I was talking about, when I was doing youth ministry, I went and I studied counseling psychology, got my master's in psychology, and I just am committed to in my life, with whomever I'm with and whatever space God brings me, helping people understand that God loves them, that God wants to demonstrate his love, both in our spirit and in our relationships. And it's kind of been the journey ever since.
Wow.
I have a question. I will have a couple of things, because just based on what you said, you talked about how like you receive like counseling and you receive like there's community around you.
Yeah.
Is that something that you sought out? Because I know I have people in my life that they struggle with mental health and just relationships themselves. They struggle with that. And so can you speak about how important it was to have that community around you and the responsibility that we also have to seek out community, and at the same time, the church as a body to also provide that community for people? For sure.
It was, I would say the community sought me more in the like, cause when you're low, right, you reject it and you're like, just leave me alone. Like I'm in a dark space. And part of it is like, I don't want to push my junk on other people. And part of it is it's self-protective because like it's painful to open that up to other people. But they like I had an amazing church and youth group and family that was like, no, we are gonna be there. So the responsibility for me was what I had to allow that, and then I had to lean in as opposed to lean away. But I would say if they didn't push themselves to be close and be present, then I wouldn't have sought it at all. But it was because they were so active in their work that I was able to. It was easy because I only had to take one step. It's not like I had to chase somebody down, right? There was no way. I was not in the space where I could have chased after community. But I found enough to go, yeah, I'll take that step. So if as the youth pastors constantly checking in, so how are you doing? Like, how are you processing this? Like, you want to come over for dinner? You can have dinner at our house, or do you need some time just to walk and talk or whatever? And then this family friend that was like checking in saying, so how are you processing this? What are you doing? Like, here's an opportunity. We could go to this youth service. Like all of those things that I didn't have to pursue it. They pursued me. And then I was able to say yes. So I think it's really critical for us as believers to consider that, to go, the people that are hurting are going to require the most pursuit, and they require the most support, right? And that at times can get exhausting, and and it's hard for us to know too about how much is too much. Like, when am I being pushy? When are they just? You can't help someone that's not ready to say, I will receive your help, and I think that's kind of what you were sharing a little bit there too. There is a responsibility on the person that's hurting to say, I need help, like help me. But if we can make it as easy as possible for them to take that step to say, I need this help, then I think that's critical. Yeah.
You having conversations with you also kind of highlight mental health in the church, whereas I never seen it like this in terms of like talking about it on Sundays, talking about the care center. The care center is basically like I would say a center that can help people with
So I mean,
things.
for those, I mean, this would be a brand new concept, but what we did again, I said I'll come back into church ministry, but this is going to be critical.
Yeah.
So what we have done is we have gone to any care professional in our church. So psychotherapist for sure, social worker, physiotherapist, financial counselors, legal, and saying there are people in our community that are hurting. They don't have finances to pay for these services. They have benefits, but they're out of benefits. They're new to the country. They have no benefits. Could you volunteer 3 sessions, just free care for people that don't have benefits or out of benefits? And then if you determine that they need more care, then we'll raise funds within the church to continue to pay for care. So we've got 34 professionals. So we do it in 3 ways. We do seminars. So we do like free community health seminars. And then we do groups. So we have like care for those who've gone through divorce, grief share, those who have lost a loved one, anxiety and depression, intro to mental health. So we do that kind of group, that peer support. And then we do the one-on-one counseling too. And so we started this because here's what I believe, and it's scripturally based. It's also based in our research. Like, we are not just a spirit. Like we are a body. Like, and our bodies have minds, and we are in relationship to each other. So we have relationships. We have a psychological process. We have a physical body, and we are spirit, soul. So in a secular college, you're going to learn, it's called biopsychosocial theory, but you can experience challenges and successes in any area. So Nana, you're a runner. You're like a high-end triathlete, right?
God willing.
That's it. Yeah. So for people like us, when we're going to feel fed when you're playing basketball or something like that, you get like, mentally, you're in a good mental place after you've had just like a good workout, right?
Yep.
So if you experience an injury, your ankle, like you twist your ankle, so you can't play for the next couple of weeks, your mental state goes down, right? And if you say, well, Nana's down, like he needs encouragement and he's got a mental health challenge, like time out. No, he has his ankle sprained. If we fix his ankle, he's actually gonna experience a much better mental health. Or if people, like, how many times does somebody offend somebody else in the church? Like, not in your church, but in our church anyway. Somebody gets offended and then they're mad at God. Right? Like, no, you're not mad at God. You have a social problem. So you can experience challenge in any one of these realms, and you may experience a hurt in a totally separate realm. So secular college is going to teach you biopsychosocial. Christian college is going to say, and even some of the secular colleges now actually think about this. It's biopsychosocial spiritual. That we exist in these 4 realms, and you have to care for all 4 realms because they interact. They're not like
separate.
No, yeah. So as a ministry, we go. We need to care for all 4 because we look at our core verses in 1 Thessalonians 5:23 that we would experience God's wholeness in both our body and our soul and our spirit. So we think about our body and we think about our soul, the eternal maybe peace, but our spirits, our minds, and our mental health and all that we care for all of these areas, and then we'd experience God's wholeness that He wants for us in this new creation. So we have to care for that, and I think the fear of mental health in churches over the years has been like, well, that's how the world does it, but we just care about a person's spirit. And if you just pray and believe hard enough, you're going to get it right. I go, actually, I think the story of the Bible is that if you go way back to Genesis, the story was that because we didn't choose God's perfect path, there's brokenness in our world. I always say this, we were not created to die. We were created to have eternal physical relationship with God. But sin brought death into the world. So the fact that we die should tell me that our bodies are going to not function the way that God designed. So some of that's going to be physical, some of it's going to be mental, some of it's going to be in relationship with each other. And so that it's okay to try to work. And then I always say this too, like we pray, Lord, would your kingdom come here on earth as it is in heaven. So on earth, we have a time right now because the time is coming. Christ will come back. We're going to be in the new creation, new heaven, new earth, when everything will be perfect. But from then until now, our beautiful invitation is to walk with people to go, let's experience the new creation as much as we can now. So that includes our spirit and it includes our body. It includes our mind too. So I think it's a much more holistic view of how God envisions the new kingdom, or not, how we can envision God's new kingdom, as opposed to just saying, let's just hold on and wait till we can suffer in mental health and suffer in body and just wait for, because that's what so many people do. They pray and honestly, like we pray, but I still have brokenness in my family relationships and I still have mental health. Like, I've received a new spirit, but it doesn't fix everything right away. And we've wanted to believe that it does. And sometimes it does. And that's the other thing. Like that is my story, but it's not the regular.
How do you, I guess, like as a friend and maybe just practical steps of journeying with people, I guess, going through those type of challenges, and what are some steps that you can, do?
Yeah. I mean, Bernice, it builds off your question. Be present, like just be present. And then number two, encourage them to find the proper resources and the proper supports, right? So we can be present and just align our spirits to each other. And then what are the proper like supports that people need? If it's a counselor, and some people are going to be like, I'm only doing counseling if it's Christian, if it's with the pastor. I'm like, fine, great. Yeah. But first know that your pastor may not be a psychotherapist, and hopefully pastors know their lanes and where they can offer great support and where they can't. So then find a Christian psychotherapist, or maybe it's a social work that you need because it's social systems that need support. So it's all right to explore different avenues, but just find someone that can give you education or give you supports, or like a peer support group or something like that. So I think we can be present with the person, because a lot of times, like I'm working with somebody in a counseling relationship right now, and they said, is it all right if I bring so-and-so to the counseling session every time? Like, absolutely. Like this person is going to be the one that we get an hour a week. So you have life that you can share together. So then they can talk together and walk it out together. And then they come, and it was really new for them to think like, oh, I can have somebody else in with me in a session. Like totally. Like this is beautiful, because now you're doing this with a support. You're not just doing this on your own.
That's golden. But can you also talk about the other side to it, where it's like, your question was, how do you go to like,
how do you journey with someone through?
How do you journey? But also the side of like where you feeling drained.
Yeah.
And the life is being sucked out of you. Because sometimes, honestly, Pastor Rick, it's like, I'm not Jesus. I don't know what to do anymore. Like, this is too much. And sometimes it's a bit selfish on our ends as humans, but sometimes it is a lot. So how do you kind of like stay patient in situations like that, when you you got to care about your own mental health, but you don't want to see your friend or your loved one go down the wrong path?
Yeah. And we alluded to it a little earlier as well, that you cannot help someone that doesn't want to be helped. That is the reality. Is that like all the best advice in the world does nothing for somebody that isn't ready to take it. And that is, it's not only exhausting, it's heartbreaking, right? Because you love this person and you're like, I see there's so much more for you, but you're not able to do it. So what do? You get a pillow and you punch it, or you scream. I don't know. Like, it's part of it depends on your connection to the person. Like, I've had some friends that I have to go, you know what, you don't want to use the word toxic because I don't think that's fair to throw that on another person.
Yeah.
But it's like, I want to help you. I can't help you. And the enjoyment of our friendship is not there anymore because you're in this space and I want to go down there with you. But when I go down there with you, then I'm in that space too. So I have to change my exposure to that friend I'm not going to cut them, but I'm going to change how much exposure I have to that person. When it's a family member, you get a little more invested in that, right?
Yeah.
And you want to be, you can still use the same principle to go, how much exposure am I going to have? And then you got to own what you own and allow them to own what they need to own. So ours is never to own the journey of somebody else, because who knows? God may require them to go through, or not require, God may be allowing, and that person needs that time in that space to get to where God wants them to be. They may need a year or 2 years, which is crazy. God's people needed 40 years, right? And I always think of Moses. Like Moses had 40 years in Egypt and then 40 years doing who knows what in the wilderness, but he was learning how to live in the wilderness so that for his last 40 years of life, when he's 80 to 120, which is ridiculous, he's leading the people in the wilderness, and all the lessons he learned in the 40 years of wilderness is what he used in the eventuals. We want to have God, I want my purpose for I want it now. I want it resolved now. But that's just not it. It's so allowing somebody to go through it and not owning that you need to fix it. That's probably one of the most important things. So you own what you own. You let them own what they're going to own. And sometimes that's freeing enough in itself. And then you go, and then I have to know what my exposure level is and then walk through that, because if you try to own their stuff and if you're there every day in it, it's hard, right?
Yeah. I wanted to touch base because you mentioned your heart for people and teaching people the love of Jesus, right? And I think, which is super important, but sometimes I feel as Christians, we can kind of not really understand what that means or display it correctly. And it gets misinterpreted, or especially when it comes to non-believers. I think obviously when it comes to believers, it's very easy to love your neighbor, like to love someone that is on the same page as you. But to non-believers, can you just touch base about what it means to show the love of Christ in the right way? Because it could be where you can be kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, but it's
standoffish.
Not standoffish, but it's like a people pleaser. Like you think that people pleasing is loving the person, right? Or it's doing a lot, but you're kind of burning yourself out.
Right.
But yeah, can you just touch a base? What does it mean to show the love of Christ? How do we show it correctly?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a massive,
I know, right? I know.
So what I think is, and God's been bringing me through this in the last couple of years. So this is a little unrefined. I'll be honest, but I go, okay, so he created humanity in the Garden of Eden. He said, here's this beautiful world that I've given you, and life is going to thrive, and you're to care for each other, and you're to care for creation, and I'm going to be in it with you. And he said, if you do it my way, everything goes perfectly. If you do it your way, it's not going to go so well, but I'm still going to be in it with you. And that same invitation is offered. You see it all through Scripture. You see it with Abraham and Sarah. You go, hey, I'm going to bless you, and if you just trust me, everything's going to go perfect. Abraham and Sarah decided to do it their way, and we got conflict in the world forever because of that. Always, David, Solomon, even the people going up to the new land, just do it my way and I'll bless you. And if you don't, it's not going to go so well. So I say all that to say this. I believe that is what we're to share, God's love with people. We're to say there's a way that God has promised that life will thrive. And God has this beautiful grace for us that when we don't get it right, sometimes there's correction, and sometimes there's consequence, but he offers us the ability to come back. So he offers us boundaries, and those boundaries are not restrictive. They go, life will thrive within these boundaries when we put others first, when we're not looking to when we're not looking for power and money, and we're not prideful, and when we live humble lives, and we live sacrificial lives, and we live honoring lives where God is first, and we steward all that we have for his purposes and all these things. That this is how life was meant to thrive, and that really is the invitation that God gave us in the first place. So what is God's love? God's love is that he wants all of creation to thrive with each other, and that includes our relationships. It includes our relationship with nature and the world. And I think the problem over the last number of years is that what we have shared God's love is that we're bad people and God forgives us and he wants to save us so we can go to heaven. And that, I mean, I get, like, that's the core of the gospel that we get. But what if the message was God created a beautiful world for us and he wants it to thrive. He wants us to thrive and he wants the world to thrive. And there's a way that he wants it to thrive. And so our option is, do we want to do it his way? Do we want to trust that his way is how it's going to thrive? Or do we want to try and find our own way to make it thrive? And I think God's love is saying, trust me and do it my way. And then that's a much less kind of like, go, I'm a bad person and I need God's forgiveness. I do need God's forgiveness. There's all but everybody knows that their life is not perfect and they need that's not news to anybody, right? But to say, hey, there's a way to do it, submit it to God in a way that would thrive, and you will experience God's love in an amazing way if you just trust him and you start to give your life to him. So it's a very, like I said, it's a little unrefined thought, but what I'm a little nervous of is that we've been operating on this mindset of like, if people would just pray this prayer, Jesus, forgive me my sin, come into my heart, I believe in you, which are all theologically correct well, maybe come into my heart isn't a theologically correct statement, but I don't know exactly what that means. But Jesus, I choose to follow you, I believe in you, I need you. Like, these are all theologically correct statements. But we think like, hey, they prayed that prayer, they're going to heaven. That's communicating God's love. I think, no, communicating God's love. What did Jesus say? When he first came, so he had gone into the wilderness, he had been tempted, he came back, and he reads the scroll from Isaiah, and he's like, that it's good news to those who are feeling captive. It's freedom for those who are oppressed, and God's blessing is going to be on the brokenhearted. That's the love of God, is that wherever we're feeling that life is oppressing us, taking us captive or breaking our hearts, he has a better way for us if we would learn to trust him. And if we could communicate that, those I believe statements are going to come. But let's not worry about them getting to say the I believe statements first. Let's worry about them understanding God's love first.
Sorry, I have one more. I mean, this... what's the one verse that really kind of gave you that revelation of God's love? That one verse. I don't know if you have one verse, but it is putting you on the spot. But
James 1:27. And if you want to break into any of my like phone, it's like it's one of my passwords.
Noted.
But there's characters in there too, so you can't find it. James 1:20. It's true religion is this. It's caring for widows and orphans and refusing to be corrupted. Who are the people? And I know that's like a crazy life verse, right? But it's like, who are the people in the world that feel like they've been cast aside, that they can't defend for themselves? That's whom he was speaking. So go find the people that are hurting. What true religion is caring for those people and then refusing to be corrupted by the world, meaning, hey, the way of the world, like the measures of success of the kingdom of the world, or in scripture, it's Babylon. They go, so what is it? They had money, they had power, they were prideful. So what is true religion? Caring for people that can't care for themselves and refusing to go after the things of the world, which is money, power, and pride. And I go, that's my life. I go, I want to care for people and run away from the things that the world says is success, let's not do that.
He runs away from the camera sometimes. Like he would do like Friday reels on Instagram, but like, you know how some churches, like the pastor is like the star of the church, and you don't know the name of the church. Where sometimes like just content wise, like as a producer, you're like, you want that so it can drive more engagement. It's like,
You're not about that.
you don't want it.
Be the humble servant behind the scenes.
Yeah. And I just highlighted that verse. But that is so like, it's a value that all Christians should have in their minds every single day going out into the world, that it's true religion to love people, to care for people in the workspaces, in your homes too, because oftentimes we think because they're family, we love them, but it's like that is also where you start to in your house, in your household, with the people that God has blessed you with to be in and a part of, and also going out into the world and caring for people and not being corrupted by the things of this world, because it's so easy to, but it's like we are in this world, but we're not of this world, right? Like, you're not supposed to be blending into what culture tells us to be or who we're supposed to be. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, yeah. And like stuff like this, it's like you don't shy away from, hey, you want to get the message out. You want to get the conversation out to people that need it. So we utilize the mediums of the world, but it's not like, just don't be fed by it. Don't be drawn to it. Just go, you use it when it needs to be used, and you don't let it feed your life or your ego or anything. And I mean, it's a different, like, my heart is for a lot of people that gain notoriety, because I bet the majority of them did not start out going, I just want to be famous. Like, it just kind of like, it just happens in our world now too. You get one video that goes viral and it's like, well, you're famous now. So it's like, true. How do they keep their hearts pure? Well, it's every day checking in and go, am I caring for my family? Where has God placed me? And let me care for those who can't care for themselves well in that moment. See, I told you hear my stutter? I told you.
That was not. We didn't even talk about that.
I know,
but it's okay. It's okay. You have to come back, Pastor Rick. You have to come back, because there's so you know what it is. The Holy Spirit led us on this way, and it's the path that we need to follow. And so I know we need to have you. There's more to dive into. There's more.
One of my last
whatever Nana says, I have to do. Like he runs. I told you, he runs the show. He runs a show around here, man. He's the big. We worry about his ego. You
gotta watch me, you know. Side eye.
But one of my last questions is, what's your prayer for the younger generation? Coming from youth, working with youth, and now being the lead pastor, what is? Yeah,
we were laughing last night. I was here because the youth were going to Overflow, and I was like, I just drove over to show up to go.
Overflow too.
Everybody goes to Overflow.
They are?
Yeah.
Everybody goes to Overflow.
Me too. I was like, sorry, it's that side conversation, but I was like, what is Overflow? And then Pastor Hannah, she's bringing
that's the first year they're doing it for sure.
Yeah,
really?
This is first
time. First time.
Yeah, I've never.
Yeah, it's like the thing like that. It's like every spring they go, and it's like,
very interesting.
Wow.
But I was just here to see them off, just because because my heart is for youth. I would still be the youth pastor if they'd let me.
Youth are fun.
They don't let me.
But what's your prayer for them? What's your hope for the younger generation, especially with mental health?
They have what I love about the younger generation of that's emerging right now is the rejection of some of the systemic things that were just given in our society, and going like, no, like that's hurt people. That has not been. These have not been good things. So I love that. My prayer for them is that the isolation and the anxiety and the depression that has come with the emergence of, I just need to be independently and control everything about my story, about who is around me, how I see myself, how I define myself. All of these things lead to depression. Like, because we were created for relationship. Here, let's get really deeply theological for a minute. God is relationship himself, like Father, Son, Spirit. So he is in relationship with himself. He designed us to have relationship with him, and he placed us in community, in relationship. And our world today right now is going, I don't trust enough people to have relationship. So we go, I want to have my own space in my own big house, and I want to be alone. And then if you try to have a relationship with me and I don't like your politics, or you say something that offends me, I cut you off and I don't have to have a relationship with you. And that is leading to high levels of anxiety and depression, because we were actually designed to be with each other and to be in relationship with God. And at our core, at God's core is relationship. So at our core is relationship. And as crazy as it is, some of the most life-giving times are going to be, and some of the most happiest communities are those who are forced by economics to live multi-generational homes or multi-families in one home. And that is crazy. Like, I get that. If you got 15 people in the home and there's like great grandma and grandma and aunts and uncles, but some of those families are the most happiest because, and they're the most like, why is it? But they're happy at their core. Why? Because that's their design. Yeah. And so we're not probably going to do that in Canada in 2025, but if we could figure out how to do relationship without trying to control it, I think people would experience greater levels of joy and happiness as opposed to having to control everything about their worlds.
On that note, we're just going to click.
There you have it, folks. Rick Carrol.
Well, thank you so much for just...
That was a lot.
Coming onto this show and the show podcast and just offering so much wisdom, and you're pouring out your heart for the love of God and just the people, and just sharing that. And I know there's going to be people on this that are going to listen. They're going to be impacted. So we're very, very thankful.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be back if you want him again. You already know what you need to do. You need to go comment and say, Pastor Rick Carrol, you need to be back here again. And let them know. Once again, we thank you for listening. You share, comment, subscribe, do what you need to do.
Come to Portico and visit.
Just visit and then go back to wherever church is.
Yeah.
He won't take you. He won't take unless the Lord has called you here. But yes, we appreciate Pastor Rick. And so this is it.
This is it.
Yep. We're signing off.
See you on the next one, partner.
Peace. Bye.
Peace.